Yeah.
This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
The truth has set me free.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the War Report After Dark. Well, we definitely have a lot to go over. We got Money in the Bank, we've got Raw, we've got the return of R-Truth, so many questions, Ron Killings, so much to go over. Welcome everybody to another edition. I think this is going to be one where we're kind of all over the place, because there's just so much to get into. And real quick, who is H?
I have no idea.
I thought that was Hector.
Oh, now we're just left.
H is gone because I didn't accept anyone in under H. I don't know who the hell that was.
What the hell was that? That was weird.
It was very weird.
And as soon as you said his name, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm out."
Lit. Oh my god.
The pay-per-view. It was Triple H joining the show. I swear we didn't fire R-Truth.
All right, so I think we need to start not with Money in the Bank, and I think we need to start with what happened, well, at Money in the Bank, and then what led into Raw, right? So here's my question, and I want to preface this question by saying it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we got Ron Killings back. However, I am curious, was it a work, or was it really hashtag We Want Truth trending #1 and chanted throughout Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and everything else? Was it the fans, or was it a work? According to Triple H, if you enjoyed the show, it was all about the show. Then you have Ron Killings' son saying that it's bullshit and his contract was not renewed. And I got some shit last week for saying that R-Truth got fired. So let me rephrase it one more time, because I kind of explained it then. I'm going to explain it again for all the people that are just a little slower. If you're a big company,
but I thought you did it beautifully in that explanation. Just saying.
Thank you. If you are a big corporation and you really don't want to rehire somebody, but you don't want to necessarily let them go, you give them a low ball shit offer that you know they're not going to accept.
Bingo bong.
And you part ways. That's kind of what happened. They knew he wasn't going to go for the lower amount of money.
Of course.
However, this could have all been a work. So that may all be nonetheless anyway, but I don't know. It was a very short amount of time. We're going to get Ron Killings now, which was awesome on Monday night. The promo was great. Cutting of the dreads. Going back to the old TNA style Ron Killings. We want the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. You know, when the crowd almost started doing the what chants, I wish you would. And then kind of like, we're getting like a badass truth. Part of me also is kind of like, well, damn, but I like goofy truth. But
I think he'll still have, he should still have an...
He'll go back and forth.
He's going to be like Mick Foley with Cactus Jack, Love, and everything like that. You know, we can have a little bit of both.
I think this is him realizing that this is literally his final run at being anything.
Right.
And he is definitely I believe that the character that he was speaking of Ron Killings is the more aggressive guy in the ring. You know,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna be a squash match anymore. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna whoop some ass, and you're gonna have to beat me to beat me. You
He,
know, one of
he's
those.
he's gonna remind people, and I think this promo did last night. There was a reason TNA made him the first black NWA World Heavyweight Champion. There was a reason for it. He was the most over guy. I always say this: the first time I saw R-Truth after he got fired as K-Quick was in the movie. I believe it was called Head of State with Chris Rock. And Chris
Yes.
Rock's running for president, and one of the places he stops is like NWA Wildside or something. And I see Ron Killings with the NWA title, and I'm like, why is K Quick NWA champion? So from there, then all of a sudden he's in TNA. You know, he's doing all this great stuff. He was a big reason for TNA's early success. Him with the 3 Live Crew, him as a singles act. He was a big time heel because the Truth Will Set You Free was an uncomfortable thing. He was playing into the I'm the first black world champion. And I really love that promo because it reminded me of first starting to watch Ron the Truth Killings 20 years ago,
Right.
killing it on TV. And I'm like, this is the guy. And I know he had a lot of success for the last 15 years playing this goofy character, but I like this a lot.
Yeah, this is going to be a side that people have not seen in a long time, and there's some that have never seen it because they didn't see his run in TNA, which you can probably find matches on YouTube, so go check it out. Tara, okay, I read that it was true and that the fan reaction was so strong that they hired him back. Also, Tony Khan wasn't able to convince him to come back until Sunday. First of all, wrong Khan.
Right.
It's Nick Khan. Tony Khan is
Still-
AEW. But still a Khan.
Everybody knows,
But I did hear the same thing, that Nick Khan ultimately had to be the one to reach out to be like, okay, we made a mistake or something like that, blah, 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 blah,
Well,
blah.
he wasn't taking WWE's phone calls most of the week. That's
Yeah, he
what
was just
the
ignoring the phone.
I heard that too. So,
he
but
wasn't taking any calls at all. And then Nick Khan was the one that finally convinced him to do it. But like you said, guarantee you that negotiation for that had to be about Ron Killings and not R-Truth.
I don't know. It definitely didn't feel like a work,
No.
but
I don't think
they're
so.
trying to make it seem like it was.
But
But-
here's the thing. Go ahead, Ed.
I was gonna say, no, the only thing that was interesting is like the press conference. Yeah, I heard what Triple H had said, but when they asked Cody and Jay about it, Cody was like, this was the same swerve that happened last year with WrestleMania when they weren't happy about the Rock Roman thing happen and they had to deviate really quick. He said that they did not see this reaction coming as bad and as heavy as it did. And they had to deviate from it. So that's the only reason, because if we know what happened with last year's WrestleMania, where I'm saying that this TKO listens to what the fans are saying more than what would have happened 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, Vince McMahon wouldn't give him 2 shits. If you fired him or released him, you're done. They take more to what happens in social media and what the fans are saying now to actually try to give us what we want.
Well,
Yeah, it has-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vince.
No. I was just gonna say it only happened. The only other time I can think about this is when Matt Hardy got fired, and they started that "We Want Hardy" thing. Go ahead, Al.
That was 100% the fans, though, that got them to
that
bring
was.
back Matt Hardy for sure. Yeah.
We have to think about the fact that these people, at the end of the day, are not wrestling fans first. They're business people, and if they're gonna see R-Truth name being retweeted a million times, that sounds like a lot of money. If I was
Right.
sitting there with their corporation and saying, "Hey, you know what? I think you need this guy back, because if you get him back, you're gonna sell at least the most shirts you did in the last year in a month." You know, like
And it-
He was doing that before they released him. The Ron Cena shirt had been
That was the number one shirt that night.
was top merchandise for 5 weeks straight.
The other thing too is, you know, a lot of times when like a high profile like an R-Truth gets released, right? The first 24, 48 hours, you're going to hear the crowd, usually. But when you keep hearing it throughout the entire week, like it went more than 48 hours where it was nonstop all over social media, and at any live show or televised show, we want truth.
Yeah.
I put it before the show started in the audience when there was the pre-show for the PLE, like Pat McAfee and Michael Cole were like dying because the crowd was singing the "What's Up" song.
Yeah.
They sang the entire song while they're trying to explain what's coming up for the show tonight. And they both just sat back and stopped, like, okay, we'll wait till y'all are done, because they did the whole song.
Yeah, dude. I again, just everything I heard, the reaction, because this could all be a coordinated effort, but here's what it seems to me. When Sean Ross Sapp and all the other dirt sheet people that WWE people don't like spoke to people like wrestlers internally and staff internally, it was a big morale hit to them. They're like, I can't believe they released Truth. We thought he was a lifer. This. So unless they went backstage and were like, hey, guys, and told the entire roster the plan for this one match or whatever, this one angle, it seems really unlikely to me that they just like faked a firing just to get, like, why would you fake a firing to get negative crowd reaction? It got the opposite. You know what I mean? Like this is why I feel like it was definitely a pivot. And from everything I've heard, this is not a full-time you're back contract. This is thank you for your service. We're giving you one more run. You're using your real name now so that when you go back to the Indies or you go wherever you're going, you can use Ron Killings, formerly of the WWE, and then it's not like you're not using R-Truth, which is copyrighted by WWE. You can just go by Ron the Truth Killings, which has been your thing for 20 years.
But you know what's funny, though? I understand wanting to use Ron Killings, your own name, so that you have that notoriety when you do leave and you go to the Indies or whatever, but there's not a wrestling fan in the world that doesn't see his picture on a post about, GCW or Northeast Wrestling or this and that, and you see his face and not know that that's R-Truth. No matter what his name is, you're going to know it's R-Truth. You know what I mean? So, but I get it. And listen, just because the initial intention is to not make it a long-term thing or whatever the case is, that doesn't mean that it doesn't turn into one, because the fans are so behind him, and if he knocks it out of the park, which we know he will, then maybe it gets you never say never.
But even if this is his farewell, it's a short-term thing. At least we get a chance to see him fulfill what we knew he could have already done. And then it's like, okay, it's like, and I'm sorry, I love you, like with Ric Flair. Okay, we know you're retiring, but at least he gets that farewell. The Saturday night's main event thing after everything he did in the company was horseshit. That's all he got.
I mean, not for nothing. He looks exactly the same as he did 20 years ago. The guy doesn't age. He can still go. So why are we rushing? Why are we rushing the whole wish you the best in your endeavor situation? You know what I mean?
And also the other guy, unfortunately, what are you feeling like if you're Carlito sitting at home in Puerto Rico? Like, hey, everybody misses Truth a lot, and he's just like sitting around like, that's not cool.
That's not cool.
He definitely has to feel some sort of way, that's for sure.
And both of these guys.
It's why I say this was real, that what happened, because Sarah Logan got Carlito.
Right. This was all part of scheduled release.
I mean, listen, it sucks for Sarah Logan, but she hasn't even been on TV in a year. So I mean,
well, she had a baby.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. She hasn't been on TV in a year, so it's not like I'm missing her. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I'm just saying, but that's why I'm saying this is because it was typical releasing time or whatever. This is around the time of year where they do a couple of releases. So
spring cleaning.
But the fans just did not no one cared about Carlito or Sarah Logan and in that regard or whatever. It was like, come on, Truth, really?
I think people with Carlito kind of expected it.
Absolutely.
They haven't done a thing with him since he's been back. He's also been, Judgment Day comic relief. He's been entertaining. He's been funny, but I mean, it's the same reason why he got released last time. There's just they can't seem to figure out what to do with him.
Yeah, I wish, but here's the one thing I wish. I think people would have been a lot more receptive. Think about this. They were like, Ron Killings, we were going to release him. We're going to give him one last match at Saturday night's main event, and then we're going to send him on his way. How much more impactful would it have been if they had a little forethought? They're like, we're going to retire this guy. We're not renewing him. Make the match between him and John Cena title versus career. He retires. He loses. He retires. The fans can say goodbye. He waves to everybody. Rides off into the sunset, and there was a way for that to happen. And the same thing with Carlito, because what I don't like is when you have a group of people who have a dynamic, and then somebody gets fired, and next week they just act like, there was only 4 people in the group ever. Right. What's that?
I said it's Judy from Family Matters. She goes upstairs one season, and you never hear from her again.
Right, or Chuck from Happy Days. He just went upstairs to his room and never came down again. Wow, these are old references for you some of you wrestling folks that might not get it. But what about these? You could have written off Carlito as well. You could have had him being in the background playing the PS5, and then he's like packing it up one day, and they're like, "What happened?" He's like, "I gotta go," or whatever. Or like, they come back to the clubhouse and somebody stole the PS5, but there's an Apple where it used to be. Or like just give him a little something. You know what I mean? Give him a send off that makes sense. The one thing, and that's the kind of the thing that I don't like about wrestling in general, is when somebody gets fired, they just kind of get forgotten about.
They don't get written off. They just got forgotten.
Right. Mariah May had a great finale with Tony Storm. Literally ended with a 3 count and then the end up on the Titantron. That's great.
Perfect.
Ricky Starks got a match on Collision, and then nobody heard from him for 8 months. You know what I mean? It's like, let's write these guys. Let's give them a story. Let's write them off. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
All right. So, Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank for me is always one of my favorites. I didn't get to necessarily watch it as scheduled, but I did watch it, and I thought it was great. I went into it looking more forward to the women's Money in the Bank match, not so much the men's, and I wound up loving both. I thought both had some really great spots. The outcomes, we all were in agreement that there's no way that Rollins doesn't go out and win because they need the momentum for the new faction, so we got that one. I was kind of surprised with Naomi. I'm not hating it, but she was not my pick. I didn't see that one coming. But I thought the women's was great. There was some really, really great spots. They really beat the shit out of each other. But in the end, Naomi wins. 2 heels won Money in the Bank this year, and last year 2 faces. So I guess time to switch it up.
And all of as of Monday, all of the champs, the big time champs, are bad guys, are all heels.
Yeah.
World champs, women's champs, the whole
we'll
deal.
Get into
well,
that.
except for Io, who's on a fucking milk carton somewhere. Can somebody tell me where women's world champion Io Sky, who hasn't defended the title since WrestleMania when she won it?
She did have a meeting with Nikki Bella last night backstage. They had some words.
And she was at ringside at World.
Yeah, but I'm saying she won this women's world championship, and Jey Uso had more defenses than her. All the other titles have been defended, and I feel like she's not the focus of the show as the champion. You know what I mean?
So what do you guys feel overall about Naomi winning Money in the Bank?
I like it.
Yeah.
Because the crowd reaction she's been getting lately, again, this is like her final run, right? She's been, like, people really gravitated to this new caution character, aggressive, not this glowy, happy, go lucky, whatever. Yeah. Even if I lose, I'm happy. No, she's angry. She wants a title, and I'm always a fan of a heel getting the Money in the Bank. I just feel like it's a heelish thing to do, to walk into a ring and, do the heist. So I wasn't mad about it. I just didn't want Mommy to win because I just think she doesn't need it. Like, there's no need for her to have that. You could just put her anywhere at any time at this point. I was just I was with my wife last night talking about the show actually, and I said to her, and I said, "Babe, you see her right there? That's the best women's wrestler right now. Like right now for me, outside of what's her face out of AEW, Tori, what's her name?
Tony Storm.
Tony, not Tori, Tony. I truly believe she's the most over wrestler there is right now. Like the crowd goes ape shit when she shows up. So, but overall, I wasn't upset with it.
Yeah, the only weird thing to me about it is this means probably that Jade is going to win the title and then get cashed in on by Naomi, or like Naomi's going to cash in and then Jade's going to win, or like is it Bianca? Like what's the main feud for that we're going to go with once Naomi cashes in, because she's kind of got a couple different ways she can go.
It doesn't have to be exclusive to SmackDown, so she could go cash in on Io.
Yeah, but the storyline,
Story doesn't make sense for her to cash in
the
on
story lies with those two other females.
It does if she brings the belt back to SmackDown.
I mean, I think it only makes
Right.
sense. Look, I think she's too green to have a belt, but if you do it in that way, Vince, that you have her win it and Naomi cashes in on her right away with like a chair shot or something,
Right.
I'm all about it. And then she could be chasing her for the belt, and then Bianca gets in the way, and then they get a match. Whoever wins could go against Naomi, or you have a triple threat the first time around to protect Naomi, and
Right.
keep her keep her going. I think that will be a great way to go.
I will throw this out there. We have yet to have a women's failed cash in.
That's true.
Another way to keep Naomi strong as a heel, because she has a temper tantrum and freaks out because she has a failed cash in on Tiffany Stratton, who saw it coming because she did it a year ago.
She was already.
You know what I
thinking,
mean? Right. Like, that would be something different, right? I mean, it's happened, I think, twice with the men. Maybe 3 times, but I think twice. So we haven't had it with the women yet. It would be something different.
I think a cash in non-cash is so cruel.
It
It's like,
is.
look how we talk about those till this day. Like, we vividly remember those guys because they failed to cash in the easiest layup to a championship in the history.
But they
But
were
it's
also
got to
running.
happen.
I just think her character's so over right now that I think you'll do her a disjustice if you do that.
I don't know. I think you could enhance it.
At
I mean, I
least
think
she's-
either way, you're good. But
right.
it would
I
just
think
be something
she's
different.
more credible if you're comparing the guys failed cash-ins to Naomi. She's more credible as a threat to win the title than Baron Corbin, what's his face, Mizdow, Damian Sandow. Other failed cash-ins would be Otis, right?
Otis,
or did he lose it?
Damien Sandow.
He lost.
He lost
happened?
it in a match, I think.
Yeah, he lost
He
it
didn't
in a match.
fail the
So, like,
cash in.
Didn't
it was on
Cena
the
lose
line.
a cash in?
I think Cena did, but most of the guys that lose cash-ins are like job guys, and they never ascended past that, and that was kind of the problem. At least with Naomi, win or lose, she can still factor into a championship, either Intercontinental, U.S., World, Women's Tag, whatever else. She can always factor in and be a champion again because she's credible. Those other guys, like Damian Sandow, if he won the world title, Austin Theory, and he won after the U.S. title and still lost. So how bad do you feel about that shit? It's like
That's arguably the worst cash in ever.
it is, and I think I don't like. Here's the problem: Triple H doesn't like the Money in the Bank, so he's not going to use it the same way Vince used it. It'll be a very different situation. So I guess we'll just have to see what his what his direction is with the women and then with the men, because the men, especially after Monday, people have some ideas. We'll get to that, but people on the internet have ideas as to what's going to happen going forward.
So next up, you had Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr. for the Intercontinental Championship, which got set up earlier that day at Worlds Collide. Very entertaining match, and it was great to see Dom hold his own, and he won the match. So That was this Worlds Collide was also fantastic. Some really cool shit. That brings us to Lyra Valkyria, Becky Lynch for the Women's IC Championship. I think we all kind of predicted Becky Lynch was going to win. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great match. I'm good if we don't have another one, but now I feel like Lyra's got to get her rematch too. So, Brian also lost his cash. Braun also lost his cash in the Hell in the Cell. Went no contest. That's true. Good call. So yeah, any thoughts on that match? I thought it was great.
Good match. I mean, I wouldn't call it great. I thought it was a good match. It gives a little bit more length to the storyline. Obviously, we're going to have a rubber match, which Becky should go over, I believe.
Right.
In order to do exactly what she said in Raw to bring Pristine to that title, because she doesn't need that title. That title definitely needs her. I see her doing that John Cena-ish thing when he did it with the U.S. Championship back in the day.
Like open challenge.
Yeah, maybe like an open. Well, well, that's a good idea too. I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking about just the Pristine she brings to the title.
Right. Yeah. No,
as
it's true.
As a former, countless WWE champion. And oh, by the way, I really hate. Not trying to sound like a pro women or anything like that, which I am pro women. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying, could we drop the moniker of like women's intercontinental? Like Becky has the fucking title, like she's the intercontinental champion. She's not the women intercontinental champion. She's the intercontinental champion.
Well, but there is another intercontinental title.
Yeah, he's a fucking male, Steve. We know that. Like, as a guy.
I mean, I know what you're saying.
Girls, there's no way I'm gonna be thinking like, oh, is he talking about Dominic? Is Dominic gonna challenge her? Like, no, you idiot! It's fucking Becky. She has the belt. Like, I'm just saying, it's like it because the guys, we don't say, well, the men's WWE champion because we know who we're talking about, right? So I think it's weird. Like, I think we need to drop that. It's 2020 fucking 5. I think so. As I was saying, the Intercontinental Championship gets more pristine with Becky Lynch holding on to it. And I'm not mad at the rubber match. It also brings old girl Valkyria a little bit higher and lets her work on her mic work, which has been getting better during this little feud she's having with her.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the intent.
David Rosca, I love Stephanie Vakir. She is gorgeous. She is drop dead gorgeous. Yeah, she's,
no notes.
She's very good looking. Men's Money in the Bank was great. Much better than
Steve, before you move on, can I make fun of you for a second?
Sure.
You can tell how Steve is you can tell how Steve is in a relationship now because you skipped right over that comment.
Moving right along.
Before we would have had a 25-second conversation just on that move she does. I'm sorry.
That move is spectacular.
It's great.
That move is spectacular.
Top 10.
David Rosca, Lyra Valkyria will beat Becky Lynch for the women's IC champion.
She probably will.
I can see that.
You're right. He didn't talk about Little Miss Bliss either. Damn.
I was waiting to talk about that, even though it didn't correlate to Raw, because I had something I wanted to backtrack to SmackDown with Bliss, but we'll go over that. So, Men's Money in the Bank, I thought was great. We finally got Jacob Fatu to turn on Solo. Wow. I hate you, Solo. Can we talk about how funny Solo's been lately?
Oh my God.
Imitating Penta was fucking awesome.
He imitated all of them.
All of them.
You didn't realize that he did all 3 of them.
He did all of them, but the one with Penta to me, I thought was the best one. David Rosca loves when she does the devil's kiss. That's what they call it. Yes, we all do. It's how could you not?
Why did your voice change when you say that?
So yeah, Jacob Fatu finally turns on Solo. That was great. it was great to see Bronson and Braun and Jacob and that whole dynamic. There were some really great spots. The Mexican Destroyer on the ladder. I mean, there were so many, you can't name them all. But it definitely was better than I expected. And, of course, Seth Rollins won, which, I mean, listen, I think that was the call, right?
I'll give you guys a sidestep laugh on the Devil's Kiss. Freaking Justin is not normally home at the beginning of the show, so he doesn't always see it. So he was home on Saturday, and he saw that, and he heard it go, "Uh-oh, Devil's Kiss." Alex is like going nuts and goes, "I can't watch this." So Justin's like, "What can't you watch?" And then he looks and goes, he goes, "Oh, well, maybe you can't, but I can."
That's
It
one
is
of
a
those,
great move.
we'll tell you when you're older, kid, kind of thing. So we'll
Like,
explain.
I watch this. Justin's like, "But I can." I'm like, "Oh my god."
It's amazing
Yeah,
because every time you see it happening, you're like, "Damn, I would love to be put in that movie."
That's exactly.
And we got Steve back.
There it is.
there he is.
There it is.
Steve realized his girlfriend doesn't listen to this podcast.
No, not even a little.
Exactly. See,
She'll ask about it, but I don't give a
You
shit.
just say it went well. How'd it go? Oh, good. That's it. That's all.
Everyone-
Oh, it was great, honey. It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was
A lot
wonderful.
of wrestling. We talked about headlocks for like 15 minutes.
John Cena, Logan Paul, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes. I will say it again. I say it every fucking time. Once again, Logan Paul impressed. He is just athletic. He was fantastic. He did some great spots. That moonsault from the ring to the announce table. I mean, the match I thought was great. And then, of course, the return of R-Truth, which was everything. Because nobody saw it coming.
But even the move with the drone when he was on the top rope, that was freaking insane.
Yeah, that was cool, too.
A drone in your hand and still landing, and you kept, he still was holding on to the damn thing. That was impressive as all fuck.
Yeah, I think, regardless of what we might think of him as a person, and I don't want to compare him to O.J. Simpson, where it's like O.J. was a really good football player, but then he also murdered 2 people and then drove down the A1A. But, and obviously Logan Paul hasn't killed anybody. He did go to Japan and then go into the suicide forest where people like traditionally committed suicide in Japan. This is like the place you go if you're depressed. It became like a thing, and filmed, for those of you who don't know, filmed a dead body of a guy who had just like freshly hung himself. Like it wasn't bones. It wasn't like a funny skeleton. It wasn't a prop. It was a real ass dude. And the first time he sent the video out over YouTube, he didn't blur out the dead guy's face. Then he thought, oh, maybe we just blur his face and it's fine. And then he re-uploaded the video with the guy's face blurred, but you still just showed a whole ass hanging dead guy on YouTube, which is A, weird, and B, disrespectful to the dead guy. But with all that being said, bold prediction, I think he by WrestleMania next year, I think Logan Paul takes that Raw belt.
Oh, it's very possible.
I think he's
They're kind of planting seeds already.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, and
I just threw up in my mouth.
but you know it's going to happen. I think even WWE now being owned by a bigger company realizes he's a popular name. It's like Jey Uso. They put the title on him for 3 months and they're like, all right, you got a taste. That's all you get. And maybe Logan Paul gets the same thing. He surprise wins the belt on a roll up or something, or he cheats to win. He hits him with the drone, whatever it is. And then he loses it like 2 months later or something. You're like, okay, I guess it wasn't that bad, but
I mean, Al, everybody knows it's no surprise how much I freaking can't stand Logan Paul as a person. But
yeah,
I cannot not watch him when he's
He's awesome.
what he, because it takes some people 10, 15, 20 years to be able to come close to
Or
what,
never.
exactly what
Or never.
Ryback, what this kid is doing right now. He has the mic skills, he has the agility and the ability, and then more importantly, no matter whatever douchebag he is, wherever else the fuck he is, he has the respect of people in the locker room because he understands the business. That's just as important as what you can do out there. There is not a single person talking shit about him and how he behaves back there And when he's like the Pat McAfee of the locker room. I'm a diehard fan that wants to be in this, and he listens to everybody.
Yeah, no, the guy is
Yeah.
a pro. Hats off to him. Like you said, right? There's guys that could work their whole career in behalf of what he is, and still make it,
Yeah.
which is crazy. You're right. You're absolutely right. I just can't stand him, and
I can't.
thinking that a YouTuber is holding a WWE title where there's guys in the indies
Oh, I know.
busting their ass trying to get to this point, while he skips so many hoops, and just he's a fucking freakish athlete. But that's what bothers me about it.
Right, but even though he is the celebrity or whatever about it, he has the talent at least.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and
I
he's
can
just he's also just playing to that character, and I'm just an idiot, and I'm buying into that character that he is.
Well, that also means he's doing a good job.
right, he's
Because
doing a
he's
great
getting
job.
you to buy into the character. And
Right.
let's not forget something, too. He's one of those celebrities been around about 3 years already.
But-
So,
but
you know,
also
he's
one
also,
thing
like,
is-
putting in the work.
I
Right.
don't. The reason I think he's that big of a good of an asshole is because I just think that's who he really is.
Oh,
Like
he
the
is.
best wrestlers
Yeah.
are who they are. Stone Cold, The Rock, those are them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like even
You're not
Mick
wrong.
Foley in a
Mm.
weird fucking way. All those people were him. You know, like every single one of them.
Yeah, I get it.
So I want to...
It's doing us a favor because remember when we were kids and we thought Hulk Hogan was the coolest and the nicest and the sweetest dude ever? We were fucking to all hell. You know Logan Paul is an asshole before we start even watching him. You know,
It's a valid point.
how many of
So-
us believe the Four Commandments? Like, Hulk Hogan is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah, right.
So I want to get into Raw, but before we do, I want to backtrack real quick because I will have my moment of bliss. And I just want to point out, I don't know if anyone caught it, but on SmackDown, as soon as she came out for that 6-women tag, as soon as she stepped through the curtain, the screen glitched.
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
So it's starting.
Good.
It didn't have any relevance in Money in the Bank, which I was
Right.
disappointed. Like I would have liked to see lights flicker or something.
Steve, I
But
have a
it looks
question.
like it's happening. Yeah.
Could you have maybe just been a little bit intoxicated and just saw her entry song flicker, because it does flicker?
No, sir. I went back
Sure.
and watched it 3 times just to make sure.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
All right, Tara just said she saw it in the chat. We're good. Okay.
All right, making sure.
Man.
I do know Steve is off Monday, Tuesday, so he can hang out.
That's
Right,
right.
yeah, I get it.
I can go back and watch it a few times. So Monday Night Raw kicks off with John Cena and then CM Punk. There's always something special when you see the two of them in the ring at the same time because they're two of the best talkers to ever do it. And surprisingly, instead of SummerSlam, we're getting the match at Night of Champions in Saudi, which is kind of interesting
It sucks.
because CM Punk was always very vocal about having shows in Saudi, but looks like the match is happening in Saudi, and I can't see Punk winning.
No,
No
but
way.
I wonder if this is a way where they tease that the match is happening in Saudi, and then Punk says he's not going to do it, and then finds a way to get himself the match at SummerSlam instead, and Cena has a rematch with Truth for the title this time or something at Night of Champions, because it's already started, and I feel like they're definitely playing into it, but the online discourse has already started about CM Punk, the things he said about Miz in that tweet a couple years ago about going to Saudi Arabia, being very anti-Saudi. All of this stuff is starting to resurface, and what's the attorney from The Simpsons? Is it Lionel Hutz? What's the guy that he has the card that says no, money down, and then he corrects it, no, comma, money down. Like they did that with, it says Phil Brooks, Saudi Arabia Do I hate them? Question. No, comma. I will go or something like that. Like they had the little business card all doctored up to make it look like Punk. So what I'm saying is the memes have already started. So unless their intent is for Punk to back out to save face, it's really not. It's such a bad look. I mean, who cares? But like, it's not a great look for Punk.
I don't think people give a shit at the end of the day. I really don't. I mean, I don't see him backing out. So I could see that a part of like the verbal battle, like John Cena bringing it up. You know what I mean? But
right,
I wouldn't look too much into it.
I wonder if they'll play into it at all. Like I know they did a little bit, saying like calling Punk a hero, but I wonder if like the next promo battle they'll be like, you have to make a choice. Do you stick with your morals, or do you try and get this title by going and following me to Saudi Arabia? And maybe that's part of the story now.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they would want to outright address it because, you know, they're still in business with Saudi Arabia. So do you really want to talk shit about them on your TV program?
Well, that also might be why Phillip Brooks is doing it also as well. Money talks and bullshit walks.
I just honestly think CM Punk will not win a championship until he's at WrestleMania. I think he said, look, I'll walk through dog shit for you, but at the end of the day, what I want is to main event WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. And I think that's when he'll get his belt back. I don't know if it's going to be this WrestleMania or the following one, but I think that's the way it'll go.
Maybe.
One pretty soon. He doesn't have that many left.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right. So maybe this one coming up. Who knows? I just think he wants. I don't know. I think he'll get a belt before he goes. Or he might not. Who knows?
He's definitely going to get the belt before he retires. It's just a matter of when, in my opinion. I don't see how Punk comes back and doesn't have one run, at least, you know, with the world title.
Imagine if he wins the title and then Seth cashes in. Oh shit.
Well, see again. Like,
I guess we should talk.
You know, we should probably get through what we need for Raw and then get to the main event to talk about the new.
Well, so AJ Styles, Chad Gable, another amazing match. Just Chad Gable, I mean, it's just amazing. Rhea Ripley, Kairi Sane, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan. Roxanne goes over, continues tension with Liv Morgan. So we'll see how that eventually plays out. Becky Lynch cut a great promo. Ron Killings came out, did his great promo. Sami Zayn, Penta, Dominic, Braun Breaker, great Fatal 4-Way. Was actually surprised to see Sami Zayn go over. And then, of course, during a Netflix fucking commercial, apparently there was a backstage segment with Karrion Kross. So they're still keeping him around in the picture, so that's good. Then we had the return of Nikki Bella. And Liv Morgan took her out. So that was cool. It was actually interesting to see Cena laid out and Nikki Bella both at the same night. And then that brings us to the main event. And I got to tell you, that caught me off guard. And especially when Jay came out with his son, I was like, all right, well, he's definitely not losing with his kid ringside. Well, I was wrong. And Gunther is now, again, your champion. I think it was too soon. Jay, right now with the crowd as hot as they are with him, I don't know. To me, I just think it was too soon.
I was truly... Look, for some reason, I thought it did storyline-wise, right? Jay's been wrestling his ass off lately. And he had a match on SmackDown. He had the match on Raw. And then he's gonna go ahead and have a match on Sunday. And then he's gonna go ahead. I think he had a match on Raw. He had a SmackDown Sunday, and then he's gonna go fight Gunther, a guy he only beat once and it took everything from him. So storyline wise, it makes kind of sense because he went into that match beat up.
For sure, that was the story they were telling.
I don't see WWE playing fucking tennis with his championship, like just changing hands back and forth. So the chances of him getting it back from Gunther are very slim right now.
Right.
And then you
Yeah,
put into context the fact that now the briefcase holder is Rollins. So is Rollins going to go after Gunther? Because that doesn't
No.
make sense.
So the here's the internet scuttlebutt. Sammy wins King of the Ring, challenges Gunther, wins the belt. Seth cashes in on Sammy. So even though Sammy won the big one, he still loses ultimately, and that leads to Seth carrying the title until Sammy gets his belt back eventually. Like, I didn't love that idea from the internet, and now the idea of Punk, maybe, like, what if Punk beat Cena and then Seth cashed in on Punk? I don't know.
No, but I think that's too early for Cena because he's still got like what 17 appearances or 16.
Right. I agree. I mean, so the other thing I'm thinking of is, what if he doesn't cash in afterward? What if we get a repeat where Seth Rollins comes in and makes it a triple threat match and still pins somebody and wins, but he doesn't wait until after the match. He does his usual thing of like he did at that other WrestleMania.
Doing it during the match, yeah.
Tara, speaking of Nikki Bella, did you hear what Odyssey Jones said? So that's a good point, because I did hear what Odyssey Jones said, and he's not wrong.
Odyssey
What did he
Jones
say?
is 1,000,000% right.
Talk about a double standard.
Big time. Big
Oh,
time.
because of what?
She
He
was
was- yeah,
found
yeah.
guilty of domestic violence, and
Right.
so was he, and yet he got released immediately, and she was just brought back.
Odyssey
Yeah.
was guilty. Odyssey was proven
Correct.
that he did nothing. It was like the same thing like with Enzo Amore. It didn't happen. Nikki Bella
Oh
did
man.
out of Artem.
Correct.
Oh
That is-
boy.
100% proven. He gets child support and alimony from Nikki Bella. Bitch did something. Just because they didn't file charges against her doesn't mean she didn't do something. The dads don't
Yeah.
get custody very
Yeah, dads
easily.
don't get custody, child support, and alimony all in one. Something. Yeah, she was definitely on the short side of that one.
So Odyssey Jones is 1,000,000% right, and I got into a lot of fights online about that last night on that one because he was 1,000,000% right.
I don't know who's excited to see either of the Bellas back, especially Nikki. Like, no knock on Nikki, but if you're gonna bring somebody back, you bring back Brie, who at least fucking tried. She tried to get better. She added new moves. She worked with her husband to get better, and sure, she could come back, wrestle one little match, and and we're good. But Nikki coming back, I don't love
You
it.
know what it's leading up to.
I will say this.
Oh, women's tag team championships and Bella's winning the belts.
I will
Never
say
was-
this. She got a
Yeah.
huge pop last night.
I have a
So
question. Isn't she just back for this evolution thing, or is she back like for good?
I heard she's back.
He signed a
who knows?
contract. He didn't sign a contract, but Nikki
Oh.
did.
Yeah, but Bree's probably not too far behind.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But
Right.
as of right now, the one that signed on the dotted line was
Does that mean we're getting Daniel Bryan back?
No.
No, he's
No.
He's
That's
probably
not
going to show up at All In Texas, I would imagine, because the whole thing of taking down the Death Riders is you need people, having your back. So when Hangman goes to challenge Moxley, there's going to be a point where all the Death Riders run to the ring, and then the AEW Defense Force has to come in. And I think one of the last guys leading the charge is going to be like the surprise return of either Sting or Daniel Bryan. Or we know Darby's coming back, so I think you throw in one of those legends. And that's like the deciding factor is like, oh man, we got we have a retired Hall of Fame or whatever on our side. And legends traditionally in wrestling have extra superpowers. You know how like when the old guys come back, one punch sends a guy flying, and it's like, oh shit, Sting's the Superman. It's so something like that's gonna happen. I think Daniel Bryan shows up at All In is what I'm saying.
So I thought it was a great match. I just can't believe it. Like I really just
yeah.
I think they realized the ceiling that Jay has. And again, he's not a bad wrestler, but but he's not a guy that can carry a match. He's very over, but there's a difference between over and good, and they realized that he's still valuable as a upper mid card, right? He's still valuable, and there's still nobody. Like, I was listening to Lance Storm earlier talk about this, and he said nobody's buying less Yeet T-shirts because he lost the title. He's still going to be popular. So I feel
That's true.
And I'll tell you what, if you put a mid card title on him, you could give him a year run with it, because that's where he belongs. Like, he's going to beat majority of the mid carders that could challenge him for that belt. But as a heavyweight champion, he looks small, compared to and I don't mean in stature or size. I just mean in character. He falls short of what a WWE champion should represent.
Well, when you just look at it, and look at it this way, the main events of this year's WrestleMania, it wasn't the two men's world titles.
No,
it was the men's world title. It was men's world title, and then it was a triple threat, ostensibly to be like number one contender or whatever, the top guy in the division. But it wasn't the World Heavyweight Championship. That went on in the middle of the show. The one thing I will say is I liked the sequence of Jay with the sleepers at the end more than I liked WrestleMania, because Jay hadn't been right, and they hadn't by WrestleMania time they hadn't established. They kind of surprised the audience with this submission hold, and he got a surprise victory, but they didn't establish that Jay was going to use a sleeper as a finisher or knew he wasn't focused on as a submission guy. Now that there was precedent for him using it, it meant more when he reversed it and got the sleeper on Gunther. You're like, oh man, he's going to tap him out because this plays back into their WrestleMania match. So I like that sequence, but then complete shock ending. People love Jey Uso, but I feel like unless he was the one getting cashed in on personally, they've got a different story they're telling with that title, and it just needed to go to Gunther before it goes to whoever, and then Seth. Because what's likely going to happen is a babyface is challenging Gunther, and then Seth either interferes and makes it a triple threat or waits until the end and cashes in.
So that means that the King of the Ring winner should be a babyface,
which is why people are thinking Sammy. But also, I mean, I guess it could be Cody because he's in the tournament, but I feel like they're not going to have him win. If he's going to be beating Cena, then he's not going to be winning King of the Ring.
Yeah. I see what you mean there.
So it's good. It's intriguing. For me, I think I like the Money in the Bank as the thing that establishes a new main eventer. So I would have rather seen Braun Breaker. I know that's not necessarily in the med. What I'm saying is the kind of guy. Right. The kind of guy I'm looking for is like a Braun Breaker, a Penta, Jacob Fatu, if you're ready to strap the rocket
same in the women's. That's why I was thinking maybe it'd be Roxanne or Stephanie or even Julia, even though I didn't say Julia, but Julia would have been I was looking for, one of the younger talents.
And I think it's just the way Vince used the Money in the Bank versus the way Triple H uses it. Two veterans this year, two former world champions. So it's not like a Tiffy time situation where somebody's going to get made or established.
Just keep in mind one thing, guys, and it's a rule I've noticed in the 3 years, going on 4 that I've been on this show.
Okay.
Wow, time flies. WWE doesn't revamp a wrestler and doesn't back it up, and it doesn't matter who it is. If you think about any time they revamp a wrestler and they pretty much restarted them or rebooted them, they bring them to the top until they no longer see any value in them. But they did that with what's her name before, when they made her Glow Girl. That's when they first put the title on her back in the day.
Right. Yes. She made didn't she have a surprise comeback at WrestleMania in Orlando? The same one where Cena proposed to Nikki and then they never got married.
I
she came, there was like a multi-women match, and she came out as like a surprise or like a return or something. But yeah, she was the Feel the Glow thing, the black lights, the suit, the
That's what
the whole
got her
thing.
a W championship title.
Right, that and improving. It's the same thing with Nia Jax. Nia Jax was stinky, bad, real bad. We talked about it every week. And then she went away and she got good. And the same thing happened with Naomi. She took a little time, and even the time in TNA just helped her get a little bit better. She every time she they realize she plateaus and they take her off TV or they stop doing something with her, she's found a way to improve herself and to change things up when things aren't working. So this is big props to her that she's able to do that and get recognized by Triple H for that.
Absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are pretty much at the top of the hour.
Oh my gosh.
This one flew.
Yeah, it really did. So Jassim, he's glad. So Jassim, if you go back to probably the beginning, right around the beginning, maybe 5-10 minutes in, we discuss Ron the Truth. But basically the conclusion we came to is that he's here. This is his last run. He's going by Ron the Truth Killings to bring back more of an edge. He's not going to be the goofy, jokey guy. He's going to like show people what he can do on his last run. Also, for those of you who didn't watch last week, there is a point, maybe I want to say half an hour in, maybe 45, where Jassim comes in and just drops a comment that absolutely stalls the show out for like 10 minutes. I won't get into the whole thing, but basically, Jassim was trying to gaslight us into believing that Chad Gable and Grande Americano are two different people. And he said that they wrestled each other. And me and Steve, I think we're probably just too stoned to figure out. We could go to Wikipedia and look this up. We're sitting there stunned reading this comment. Like, what do you mean they wrestled each other? Like, you could see the sparks and the smoke coming out of the back of my head and my ears. Like, we were blown away. And then finally Tara brought us all back to earth. She's like, guys, they never wrestled each other. We're like, okay, Tara, there's a voice of reason. So for those of you who missed last week, go back and see Jassim was great. You're great, Jassim. And he loves the new faction. It's kind of like Evolution, which I can see.
Yeah, for sure.
The Seth Rollins faction with Braun and Bronson. That's not at all confusing. Yeah.
They need a name quick.
Yeah, I think they should have some sort of name. Speaking of names, as we exit tonight's show, there is an update. Mariah May is no longer Mariah May. She is Blake Monroe.
Horrible.
Yeah. It's like
I don't
Marilyn
think it's
Monroe.
horrible.
But like
Blake Monroe.
Like Blake Lively and Marilyn Monroe.
Maybe it's an homage to Tony, since she's Tony, like that kind of
Like
Marilyn
old
Monroe
school.
look.
No,
Hey, you know what? That'd be pretty neat. So I guess we'll see. No more, R.I.P. Mariah May and hello, Blake Monroe, NXT superstar. Yeah, okay. Autumn's first response to that, her face hearing this. Yeah. Autumn, Blake Monroe.
R.I.P. Mariah May. So
Oh, yeah. No, she didn't die.
said Mariah May was dead.
Oh, no. She didn't actually die. She just got a crappy new name.
I really think it would have been better if they called her like Mariah March.
Can I
Just
just
because
say,
it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Because I was not home, so I couldn't chime in on the chat. Let me tell you how pissed I am about Jey Uso losing the title. I stormed into her room, sitting on the floor, throwing a hissy fit in tears.
she looked like Naomi.
It was Blair Witch Project 2.0. If you know, you know.
All right, well, what's that? Oh, the producers are saying you guys got to go. Okay, great. It was all right. We'll get you over to your next spot. Thank you. You have to call into Racine, Wisconsin next. WMKR in Racine. Thank you for your time. We're gonna close out tonight. Just reminding you. Thank you for tuning in. This is the War Report After Dark. You can find us all over the internet at Tag Me A Date. That's Tag Me A Date with no spaces. It's all one word. We live stream on Steve's Facebook. We live stream on the Tag Me A Date Facebook page and the Tag Me A Date YouTube page. Best way to find those, if you're on Facebook, type Tag Me A Date into the search and hit the thumbs up. If you go to YouTube, type Tag Me A Date in the search, hit subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified when we go live. We go live 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday evenings. And the best way to listen is, again, you have the live stream. You can always go back on the YouTube channel and listen to last week's show as well. Or if you prefer an audio version, go to your favorite podcast app like Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play Podcasts. Type in Tag Me Date, type in the War Report. Look for the logo that we've got up in the corner of the screen and hit that subscribe button. Within an hour of the show going off the air, Ryan grabs the audio and throws the MP3 up on the podcast app so you can take it with you on the road, doing laundry, whatever it is you're doing throughout your day. And follow us on social media at Tag Me A Date. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter/X, we're on Facebook, we're on all the socials. We're on TikTok as the War Report Podcast. On Instagram and TikTok, we post reels and shorts of last week's show to prepare you for what we're doing on Tuesdays. And with that being said, be sure to follow us, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Thank you, Jasim and Tara and David in the comments, and everybody else. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week, next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for another edition of the War Report after dark. Have a great one, everybody. See you later.